Hello and welcome to another episode of Growing Organically for Wholesale Markets. Today we're going to be talking about drip irrigation. We joined Neal Reid on Spring Ridge Farm in Washington County, Virginia to see how to install a drip irrigation line. Now, as a farmer, why would I want to use drip irrigation?
Well, if you're paying for water that you use to irrigate your crops, it's especially important, I think, because it conserves the amount of water that you end up using. The drip irrigation uses substantially less than other forms of like overhead irrigation or flood irrigation, and it's probably a lower cost infrastructure to set up than comparable to the others.
Awesome. Well, let's take a look.
So this is our trunk line or feeder line or flat line or blue stripe line, as I've heard it called. I think we got 150 feet of this for 40 or 50 bucks. This is something that I'm able to reuse for about 2 seasons. And we hook. This is a place where we hook in the connection to the drip tape. This is our drip tape. It normally comes on a large roll like this, probably 3,000, 4,000 feet. I think this is a roll you can get for, I think I got it for 125 bucks. And this goes a long way. I'm able to make a lot of use. This is more than I needed this year for an acre and a half or so. What I'm doing is pulling it out and laying it between the double row planted strawberries. So here, this is on the other end opposite the end of the feeder line. What I do to sort of terminate this is take this and fold it. I like to fold it 4 times, and then squeeze this. You get this piece of, I think we actually cut this from a piece of pipe, but you can order these too. And that stops the water. Okay, so I want to be sure that the white stripe is up. Along this white stripe, every 8 inches or 1 foot are the emitters where the water actually drips out of the tape. So we're here at the feeder end line of the tape. I'm going to cut this off about where I think it's going to hook into the feeder line. It's important to kind of have a fairly straight cut on this so that it seats into this fitting well. I'll make sure the fitting is unscrewed. Flare this open a little bit. This can be a little tricky. Slide that on. You really want to have to twist it a little bit and make sure it's butted in there well, like so. And then tighten the screw on this fitting over it. And that part you're done with. So this is where my flat line or blue stripe pipe connects to my water hose. This is a basic plumbing, something you can get at Lowe's or Barry's at your local plumbing store, and has a fitting that you can connect into a water hose. So today I'm using connectors here that have a cutoff, so that if I want to isolate certain rows, only water certain rows at certain times, I can do that. These are a little more, I think these are $1.30 a piece, and these are maybe 50 cents a piece. This is one that doesn't have a cutoff. And this is a puncture tool. I think this is maybe the cheaper one available, $4 or $5. So you take the line that we attached to the connector piece, and we pick a spot out about where we think it's going to connect, somewhere about here. And this tip is really dull, and a newer tip would make this a little bit easier. So you want to punch a hole in this line. For me, it takes a little bit of twisting sometimes. You'll know you're through when the water starts coming out the hole in this tool. And then you pull this out. Try not to get your cameraman wet. And stuff this in the hole. So this one's hooked up and it's open. We should have drips to start come out here and there along the little emitters. Sometimes I tighten this up a little bit. Before I got into this, I was standing around with the hose and dragging the hose and trying not to knock stuff over or break stuff with the hose as I move through the middle of the garden. And now we hooked up the last of 1 or 5 drip lines here, so we're standing around talking, and it's running and watering all the lines at once. And so it allows you to move on to something else, a little more productive than standing for hours on end spraying the water.
I want to thank Neal from Spring Ridge Farm, and thank you all so much for watching another episode of Growing Organically for Wholesale Markets.